Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Raeann, but you can call me Ray. Hi, hello. It's been a really long time. Longer than I probably want to actually admit, but I'm here. So as you can tell, my background is a little bit different. I'm slowly collecting furniture from around my apartment and yeah, working on the background, kind of try to avoid it and like ignore it for now, but it's a work in progress and I'm excited because I found those shelves in my apartment and like one of my neighbors is moving and I got rid of a bunch of really nice stuff and those are two of the things that I picked up. So out of the like 4 or 5 things. Anyways, today's video is exciting because I'm back, hello, and also it's kind of a fall themed video. So I saw my friend Katie Marie on YouTube here post this video a couple days ago on her channel where she went through her palette collection to find all of her fall like color story palettes. So basically I wanted to do the same thing. This is kind of like a loosely like fall video because my version of what I think are fall colors could kind of be different than yours, but I thought it would be kind of fun because we all know I have a ton of eyeshadow palettes, so I thought it'd be kind of interesting to see what I have that I consider to be fall palettes. If you're not already subscribed to Katie on YouTube, I think you should do that, and I'll leave her link down below. I do know that her video was inspired by a collab. I want to say it was with Amy Loves Makeup and Karen Harris. I don't remember exactly who the video was inspired by, but I just wanted to mention that. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to start with the palettes that I really feel are fall palettes, like almost the whole palette is a fall palette, and then kind of go into palettes where they have a lot of fall colors, but maybe not the whole thing is a fall palette. I'm just gonna let you guys know that a good majority of my palettes are gonna be very grungy green tones and also kind of more golden palettes. So we're just gonna go through the palettes that I really feel are fall palettes and then kind of go into the palettes that have fall colors but maybe not the whole thing is kind of a fall color story. Again, this is just kind of what I think is fall in my collection, so stuff that I have already. The first one we're going to do, and this isn't in any specific order, and I will let you know, I'm not claiming any of these to be like my favorite palette necessarily, but I will let you know as I go what palettes I really like. If it's still in my collection, chances are I still like it or I tolerate it. I don't know. I just have this tendency, like if I don't like a palette and I don't use it after a while, I end up giving it to one of my friends or my mom or somebody. So if I still have it, I probably like it to a certain extent. The first palette we can start out with is the Juvia's Place Warrior palette. This is kind of your typical more bronzy golden palette, but I feel like that is it's a fall staple, you know, just anything with more golden tones in there. Definitely a more neutral palette, but still super classic and fall vibes for me. Anything that's golden, warm, brown tones, anything like that, like this is a very like simple fall like classic palette. Just want to do like a bronzy like smoked out kind of eye look and you're good. So this is going to be my first palette. I'm going to try not to talk about the palettes too much and just kind of go through what I have in my collection that is more fall toned. So the next palette we have is a newer palette. This is the Cutting Edge palette by Dose of Colors, and this is definitely your more grungy green toned palette. Again, with a more like orangey color in there too. I love the more golden shade in there and just like all of these more like olive toned green shades. They're so pretty. Like I definitely need to use this palette more. I don't think I've even used it after my video, which is kind of embarrassing to admit, but this is a really gorgeous palette and I do remember liking it when I filmed with it at first. Just something to, I don't know, it's just so pretty. Like This is definitely my kind of fall palette, like 100%. The next palette I'm going to show you guys might not be everybody's kind of idea of what a fall palette is, but I love like the more berry toned eye looks, and I feel like berry tones can be fall and also kind of a winter thing. This next palette is the X's and O's palette by ColourPop. I love this palette. Like, this palette is just so pretty. It's one of those palettes that you can create a really simple look but have it be gorgeous at the same time. Like, just absolutely stunning. I love it, and I don't know. I mean, it might not be everybody's idea of what a fall palette is, but it has those brown tones in there, some more golden shades, and then the rosy colors, like the burgundy color. Again, I feel like it could be both fall and winter, but regardless, this is a gorgeous palette, and it's definitely something that I'll use this fall. So this palette I feel like is a given, and this one and then the next one, I might as well just talk about them together. And if I had the other palette, I probably would include this too, but these are two Melt Cosmetics palettes. Might as well just talk about them at the same time. We have the Rust palette, which I used on my eyes today, and we also have the Gemini palette, which is one of my favorite palettes of probably all time. I'm a Gemini, so I'm a little biased. No, I just love like grungy green palettes, anything with the greens and the yellows and brown shades, and I just love it so much. So, of course I had to talk about both of these palettes. So this one is definitely your more classic. You can do smoky eyes, anything like more neutral. We have a lot of brown tones in here, and then pops of like more yellow shades. This is a little more orangey, just very classic fall. Like, I used this shade all over my lid today, and I don't normally do just stuff with like matte shades, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do this. I kind of winged it out a little bit, added a little bit of a shimmer, which I'll get to after this. But you know, this is just a very classic fall palette. Like, you can make it very smoky, add those kind of pops of yellow, and it's just super, super pretty. I mean, anything with a more like yellow shade, I'm automatically gonna be like, yep, you're a fall palette and I love you. Then we're going to talk about the Gemini palette. So of course the more yellow shades are definitely more fall for me, and then the green shades too. I mean, I really think of these colors being fall colors as well. Not so much as your yellows and oranges, but definitely still up there. Like, they're still fall colors to me. So, you know, and I just love those green shades. And I probably said this so many times already in this video, but this is just, like, when I think of fall palette and it's, like, specifically for myself, this is a fall palette. Like, this is the fall palette. Like, it's the fall palette. Alright, so the next palette, which is kind of the same vibes, where I really just think it's like the Gemini palette and this palette I'm about to talk about is probably the two staple fall colored palettes I have in my collection, and the next one is going to be the Killer Purr palette by Menagerie Cosmetics. So this one, I mean, you have those green shades, you have the brown shades, you have goldens, you have oranges. Like, it really, basically this whole palette screams fall to me, minus this shade. This is kind of the only shade in the palette that I don't really feel fits like a fall theme, but I mean, you could still use it with these colors and still literally get like a killer fall palette. Yes, I intended to say it that way, maybe, but yes, super fall in my opinion. I love this palette as well, and I definitely plan on using it a lot this fall. It's just literally what in my head is a fall palette. Again, minus this color, and this color, I mean, it's a little more pastel, but when you blend it into the other colors, it'll create a perfect fall look, and I just love this palette. Again, one of my favorite more fall toned palettes. I just love fall colors anyways. Like, this time of year is just super exciting, and in California it's kind of funny because it's like we don't really have a fall. Like, we have maybe 2 to 3 weeks at most that really feel like fall, and we jump from like fire season to brief fall to like winter, and that's it, and then that's literally it, you know? Like, so with that being said, I really have to live through my makeup and everything to make it feel like fall. I mean, I already started decorating my house like 2 weeks ago with fall decor, and it's still technically summer. Again, it'll feel like fall for maybe 2 or 3 weeks in California, and that's it, especially where I live. So I just have to kind of make it feel like it's fall longer than it actually is, because we don't really have a fall. Then I have, of course, I always have to talk about these palettes. They're literally my favorite palettes. They're $3. They're from e.l.f. I have every single one of them, and I hope they come out with more, but I'm going to just show you guys the ones that I think are more fall toned, ones you can use for your fall looks this year. So of course I have to include the green one, which is Hot Jalapeno. So this one is my favorite out of all of the bite-sized palettes that they have, literally my favorite one. And then we have the Pumpkin Pie palette, so your more orangey toned browns, and then this has your more berry tones in there. Just wanted to kind of include that as well. These are probably the 3 palettes that are most fall to me specifically, but they do have 8 other palettes like this, and honestly, if you haven't picked them up yet, please do yourself a favor and buy them. Literally $3. Come on, like, you deserve it. You should get one. Okay, so the next couple palettes are going to be ones that I wanted, actually, in the theme of green toned palettes, I'm just going to talk about the Kaleidos palette for a brief second. So very comparable to the Dose of Colors palette, the Gemini palette, and the small e.l.f. palette. I probably didn't need to include all of these palettes in there, but again, your nice grungy green tones with also some more yellow shades and more golden shades. Super pretty, very fall. We will just move on after that because I've already included so many palettes like that in there. And before I move on from that, I also realized I had the Smoke Sessions palette from Melt in here as well. This is definitely more of a palette that's kind of split in the middle, where this side definitely seems more fall for me, and this is your more blue kind of green shades in here. Like, this one's a little more green to me. This side's definitely more fall with your more golden yellow shades. So I'm just gonna include this in there because I love Melt's palettes. I know they're a little pricey, but you know, the tones of their palettes are just, they're just so good. Like, they literally, I know they didn't create the like grungy green tone palettes with like your mustard colors and then also having like those more like rusty like orangey shades. I know they didn't create them, but they nailed it. Like, they really did. I love all of the palettes that I have of theirs. So this is just kind of one to mention because I feel like it can really be used for any fall looks. Just, again, mostly like half of the palette. It could be a good like companion palette with their other palettes or any other palettes that have more of those like fall tones that you're looking for. This is kind of another like just your like honorable mentions now, where they mostly can be fall palettes but also have some colors that aren't fully fall. So of course this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, definitely fall toned. This one not so much, this one not so much, but again, definitely has these like grungy fall vibes to it, just not a full fall palette, but you could still definitely rock a fall look with this palette. I made a pile of the palettes and I definitely didn't design the pile very well. So it's all starting to fall over. So another palette to talk about is the Ace Flare palette. So we have this palette here. Definitely have some fall vibes in here, this whole row for sure. This green color in here, even like these two colors could be kind of considered more fall colors. Again, not the whole palette, but definitely has some color options in there that kind of just feel fall to me. The next palette is going to be the So Jaded palette. This is the Kathleen Lights and ColourPop collab, one of the many actually. But this one, I just really feel fall vibes looking at this palette. I love, this one's really hard to hold and like point, so this row right here, even this row here, there's just scattered colors in here that feel, oh, I'm moving the table, that feel very fall to me. This glitter, anything that's going to be more green, or even some like rusty tones in here. Like, of course, not the whole thing is a fall palette, but definitely has some good options for you. Especially this like glitter right here. Like, this is like the perfect fall look glitter. It's definitely got some more golden, bronze, and maybe even a little bit of green in there if I'm right. Super pretty. I mean, if you like glitter, I know a lot of people don't really like using glitter. Oh my god, I'm getting glitter everywhere now. So I have 2 more palettes left. I guess we'll just talk about this one. This is just another, actually the last 2 palettes I have are kind of, again, just more honorable mention sort of stuff. They're both 2 ColourPop palettes. So I have this one of the, this is the Anna palette in the Frozen collection. I think it came out sometime last year. This one definitely feels a little more autumn and fall to me. Has a little bit of those like berry tones, but also has those more orangey tones in there as well. Super pretty. I mean, the purples maybe not so much fall, but I feel like you can kind of include some purple in your eye look and have it still be kind of reminiscent of fall. Purple is kind of like a Halloween color for me, and Halloween is in fall, so it works, okay? It works. But really, I mean, wine tone colors are kind of fall for me too. Again, that might be more of like a winter thing for some people, but anyways, this is kind of definitely a stretch here, but this is the Misunderstood palette by ColourPop. This is the Disney Villains palette. This just looks super Halloween-y to me. Like, anything with like purples and greens are very like Halloween-y to me. I mean, anything like Disney Villains vibe is Halloween to me, because really they forget about the villains until it's October, and then all of a sudden you see like villains merch everywhere. So I'm here for it because yes, but I just thought this would be kind of a fun palette to throw in there, especially since again Halloween is in fall, so why not? But you know, this is just such a fun palette. I literally freaked out when ColourPop like announced that they were doing a Disney Villains like collection, so of course I needed to talk about it in this video. But yeah, so that's basically, oh, before we're done, just to show you guys, so the like shimmer on my lid right now, I mentioned earlier that I used the Rust palette for the yellow on my eye. Then I just put this bad boy on there too. I love these so much. These are the Lime Crime lid lights, and this is in the shade Gold Road. This is definitely the most fall kind of autumn shade that they have in the whole line. But I also used this one too. This one's called Airy. I use that in my inner corner. I just love these so much. You are supposed to be able to use them by themselves and not have to use them with like other products, but I really feel like they do apply better as a topper. But I mean, that doesn't bother me at all. I just feel like as a topper, it sits better. Like, I use them on my lid alone, and I feel like they do kind of start to crease and separate. So not about that, because that does not look good. Used on top of a shadow, they are just super vibrant and just like pow. They're beautiful, and they're really easy to kind of create just very simple looks. Like this one, super simple, just kind of, you know, just kind of a blown out like color all over the lid, kind of winged it out just a little bit, very effortless. Like really, you can just like pop it on and then pop on the shimmer like over it, and it just looks so good. So just thought I would mention that product, just because you know what, I've actually used this so much since I've started work in the last week, because it's just so simple and it makes it look like you really sat there and tried and you didn't. So I'm here for stuff like that. I really am. Alright, so that's basically all of the palettes I can think of. I have some palettes in here too. Oh, you know what? This one is probably a good one to talk about too. The Fairy Frolic palette by Alien Cosmetics. Definitely has your berry tones, your grungy green, and that yellow shade and that gold. Like, it can be very, it kind of looks like a very spring palette as well, but you definitely have shades in here that are, to me, autumn shades. So we have this one, this one, this one, this one, like for sure fall vibes there. The other one's definitely more springtime, kind of light and airy, very not pastel, but you know, definitely has more of a springtime vibe. But these ones definitely more fall. This one even could be kind of a fall shade too if you wanted it to be. I mean, whatever you want to do, right? Okay, so I had a couple other palettes up here, so I guess I'm just gonna, no, that's not a fall palette, and that's not a fall palette either. Okay, alright, well, okay, so that's basically all of my fall palettes that I have. I hope you guys liked this video. I just thought it would be kind of fun, a very chill, kind of just hanging out, talking about makeup, and of course, it's almost fall, so it's super exciting, and I just love this time of year for makeup too. I hope there are some killer, like, I hope there's some like killer like makeup releases in the fall, because I'm always here for those color combos. I love them so much. So yeah, I thought it'd just be kind of cool to go through the palettes, kind of talk about what I have already that is definitely fall vibes for me, and yeah, just kind of share with you guys what I have in my collection and talk about makeup. And yeah, I will be back very, very soon with another video. I I'm really sorry that I just disappeared. I have been doing that way too much lately, so hopefully I can kick my ass into shape and you know, or in line, not into shape. I'm not working out anytime soon. But yeah, kind of just get back on a schedule, especially kind of working around my work schedule and all of that, and just really be more consistent, because I definitely need to do that. So my next video will probably be either a fall toned like lip collection, kind of just going through everything that I have. Could be that, it could be going through my products that I really like right now that aren't makeup products. So I have a bunch of hair care products that I've been using since I've dyed my hair that I really like, and I want to share with you guys. So one of those two will probably be my next video, or if you have an idea or you have a favorite out of those two, let me know, because that will be my next video most likely. But I really hope you enjoyed this video. I am so glad to be back, and I miss you guys so much, so much. I hope you're all doing well, and yeah, if you liked this video, give it a thumbs up for me, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I'll see you next time.